Okay, I already did this once today out with the cows, and my video is not wanting to load, so let's do it again. It was a really long video, like 19 minutes, and YouTube got mad at me for some other short that I made that had a song. They said there's copyright infringement. Okay. So we are on verse 25. I only did 25 and 26. It was long. But maybe I'll just hopefully not have as much commentary. Verse 25, miracles depend on timing. This is why you shouldn't waste time. I told you before that time would cease when it was no longer okay. I'm going to push through this stuff, and we're going to do this. All right, let's start over. Miracles depend on timing. This is why you shouldn't waste time. I told you before that time would cease when it was no longer useful as a learning aid. The note here says, it will cease when it is no longer useful in facilitating learning. That was kind of pointless to read. Hang on, I gotta let one of the cats in. Okay. There's a way of speeding you... Okay, let's start over. This is why you shouldn't waste time. I told you before that time would cease when it was no longer useful as a learning aid. There is a way of speeding you up, and that is by leaving more and more time for me, so you can devote it to miracles. The reason I direct everything that is unimportant is because it is no way to waste your time. I'm really struggling for some reason today. First of all, this verse is very deep, and it's dealing with things that you're only going to be able to find answers from your heart. There's a way of speeding you up, and that is by leaving more and more time for me, so you can devote it to miracles. The reason I direct everything that is unimportant is because it is no way to waste your free will. The reason I direct everything that is unimportant is because it is no way to waste your free will. If you insist on doing the trivial your way, you waste too much time and will on it. Will cannot be free if it is tied up in trivia. It never gets out. I will tell you exactly what to do in connection with everything that does not matter. That is not an area where choice should be invested. There is better use of time. This whole paragraph needs to be pondered. So I hope that you have the app or some other way of reading this, and that you can dig into this on your own time and ask your heart for discernment and clarification. You have to remember to ask me to take charge of all minutiae, and they will be taken care of so well and so quickly that you cannot get bogged down with them. The only remaining problem is that you will be unwilling to ask because you are afraid not to be bogged down. Do not let this hold us back. If you will ask, I will arrange these things, even if you're not too enthusiastic. I am not intruding on your will, but I am trying to free it. Prayer can be very specific in little matters. If you need a coat, for example, ask me where to find one. I know your taste well, and I also know where the coat is that you would eventually buy anyway. If you do not like the coat afterwards, that is what would have happened anyway. I cannot save you more time than you will let me, but if you are willing to try the higher shopping service, I I think that's hilarious. Which also covers all lower necessities. Physical body. Lower necessities. Lower order necessities. If you're willing to try the higher shopping service, which also covers all lower order necessities and even quite a number of whims within reason, I have very good use for the time we could save. Remember, the specific answer you get depends on the specific question you ask. The fewer limits you impose, the better the answer you'll get. For example, you could ask, where can I find a particular brand of coat? Or where's the coat I want? Or where's the coat I should get? And so on. The form of thought determines the level of answer. Do not get bogged down in distractions if they now arise. This line originally read, do not get bogged down in those dreams of last night. After taking down the preceding material, Helen had 2 dreams which upset her very badly. Jesus said that they arose to divert her attention from this material because she was so threatened by it. That's interesting. This material in this verse is very complex. So it says, do not get bogged down in the distractions if they now arise, or the dreams of yesterday. They are reflections of old learning patterns, and they arise because you do not like what I have said about leaving minutia to me. They merely illustrate your unwillingness to not get bogged down because you are afraid of the course. So don't use them that way. This course is about willingness, not unwillingness. Unwillingness has to be replaced by willingness because willingness is part of readiness, without which learning cannot occur. And just a quick note, it just seems to be speaking to surrender to the Most High, our unwillingness to surrender because we don't know how to trust yet. Verse 26, a miracle rearranges the order of perception and places the levels in their true perspective. This heals at all levels because all sickness comes from confusing the levels. The reason for your difficulty with this is not that you doubt or distantiate or cannot believe. A little note on the word distantiate. Distantiation is a psychological defense mechanism in which you mentally distance yourself from something, especially a source of threat. It is a stance of aloofness, estrangement, and alienation, the opposite of engagement, intimacy, and identification. When I first read this during the first video, it occurred to me that distantiation would be a good way to describe basically how I've been the whole entire year. So I really appreciate this verse on bringing my mind clarity, how to bring myself back to source and rest in that and trust and surrender. That's just a personal note. So the reason for your difficulty with this is not that you doubt or distantiate or cannot believe. It is more of a reaction formation against a pull which you recognize is so intense that you are afraid. The pull to trust and surrender. There's a note. Reaction formation is a Freudian defense mechanism in which you mask anxiety-producing emotion or impulse by exaggerating the exact opposite tendency. For example, you might devote yourself to extreme altruism in order to mask underlying selfishness. In the above passage, we adopt a pose of standing aloof from the teaching under consideration, in a state of doubt and disbelief, in order to mask what we are really feeling, an underlying pull towards spirit, the intensity of which frightens us. You think you will be uprooted. Lord, heal me is the only legitimate prayer. Psalm 6:2, be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am languishing. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are troubled. Jeremiah 17:14. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. Lord, heal me is the only legitimate prayer. This also means, Lord, atone for me, because the only thing you should pray for is forgiveness. You have everything else. Now take this personally and listen to divine logic. If, when you have been forgiven, you have everything else, and you have been forgiven, then you have everything else. This happens to be the simplest of all propositions. If P, then Q. P, therefore Q. Your real question is P true? If you will review the evidence, I think you will find this inescapable. I went on very personal record to this effect, and I am the only completely true witness for God. You have every right to examine my credentials. In fact, I urge you to do so. It may have been years since you have read the Bible, maybe not. The purpose of the atonement is to restore everything to you. That is, to restore your awareness of everything. You had everything when you were created, just as everyone did. Having been restored to this original state, you naturally become part of the atonement yourself. You now share my inability to tolerate lack of love in yourself and in everyone else. You must join the great crusade to correct it. The slogan for this crusade is listen, learn, and do. This means listen to my voice, learn to undo the error, that's atonement, and do something to correct it. The first two are not enough. The real members of my party are active workers. The power to work miracles belongs to you. I will arrange the right opportunities for you to do them, but you must be ready and willing to do them, since you are already able. Doing them will bring conviction in the ability. I repeat, you will see miracles through your hands and through mine. This is a variation of the opening line of chapter 1. You will see miracles through your hands, through me. Conviction really comes through accomplishment. Remember that ability is the potential achievement, is its expression. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Remember that ability is the potential, achievement is its expression, and atonement is the purpose. Okay, that's enough for today. I don't want these to be too long. Thank you for being here. I pray for our understanding that these truths will penetrate our heart and that we will be able to understand the message coming through. Thanks for being here. I love you.